to the show, gentlemen. And Hussam, Darwin Nunes stepped up massively for you today. Talk to me about your number 9's match-winning performance.
Dax, are you in Thailand or something? What's going on? Did you take a triple like in a day?
That's London.
No, it's East London. it's not
How's he
really
wearing
but
Guys, I just want to say something. Greta Thunberg was cooking because I'm wearing a whole jacket and I got my heater on, and Rax is in half sleeve in London. It's crazy. Anyway, today
it's arguably the first sunny day of the year, so I got to take advantage of it, man.
Fair enough. Today, obviously, yes, Darwin Nunes did step up. Listen, today is a game of two halves. In the first half, we were absolutely dreadful. I think we were complacent. We came into the game like, oh, we're just meant to beat Southampton. There was no urgency whatsoever. We just pulled up to Anfield like, oh yeah, this is Southampton, guys. We're just gonna slap them just like that. And we got bit in the ass. And that first goal we conceded is one of the worst goals I've seen us concede, to be honest with you, all year long. Like, it's just Virgil and Alisson there getting together. And Virgil should have cleared it. Alisson should have grabbed it. They're both at kind of fault for it, but it was just complete complacency. And the second half, it's like Slot insulted all of them in the halftime show, in the halftime speech. You get me? And just completely different animal in the second half. And Slot did not play at all. Within directly 3 substitutions. Directly, Elliott comes on, McAllister comes on, Robertson comes on, and all 3 subs made a positive impact on the team. Szoboszlai's problem today was he didn't shoot enough. And I think that's something that, maybe Slot looked at a little bit, because I'm a fan of Szoboszlai, but today Szoboszlai in dangerous positions should have done a lot better in terms of shooting, in terms of just aggressiveness. And you could tell Elliott when he came on, direct play from Elliott, direct play. He came on within literally like his first touch or his second touch was a shot that Ramsdale made a fantastic save from it. And then Darwin Nunes, which you mentioned, I give him credit on my stream, and I give him credit here. I am a Liverpool fan. I'm Liverpool FC. I'm not Player FC. Even if it's Endo that scores a hat-trick or Gomez that scores a hat-trick, I always give credit. That man was my man of the match today. Darwin Nunes was my man of the match, even though he came off in the 67th minute. Because in the second half, the way that he played, even generally, like general play, and not just like the involvement in the 2 goals, was amazing. And, it's funny because Diaz and Nunez both combined to score a goal, which is something that... to be fair, not many Liverpool fans would have backed, but Diaz actually got past his fullback and made a pass into the feet of Darwin Nunes, of which Darwin Nunes scored that happen. Yes, guys, we're gonna win the league. If stuff like this is happening, I just know it's meant to be. We're gonna win the league. But it was an absolutely phenomenal finish. And I'm gonna talk about the thing that obviously many people in the chat I see are incredibly angry. There is not a single decision the ref made today that was a wrong decision. Darwin Nunes shouldn't have been sent off. 100%. It's reckless, but it's a yellow. Correct decision. He deserved to get a yellow card for it. Now, the penalties. First one, crystal clear foul on Darwin Nunes. Crystal clear penalty. The second one, I didn't think it was a penalty at first till I saw the different angle. When I saw the different angle and Sugawara is doing like this, it's not about... He's not stood still and it just hits his silhouette. No, he actually actively moves his hand towards the ball. And that's I think that triggers the video assistant referee to say it's a penalty, because he moved his hand towards the ball. I don't think Mo in general had a good game. I don't think he was good generally, because I think there were many moments where he could have created a better chance or had a better moment. But both penalties he had were amazing. Top corner left, top corner right. Both of them kind of unsavable. 2 goals, marching towards that golden boot as well. So, for me, 100% we deserve the win, specifically based on the second half performance. Darwin Nunes was my man of the match. He deserves so much credit for that game. Robertson was phenomenal when he came on. Endo, the closer, came on, and that's just that game. Like, who he reminds me of? For the people who are like my age or older in the chat that remember, Chelsea used to have a player named John Obi Mikel, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as he came on, you just know, just lock it off, man. Just lock it off. It's 2-1, just lock the game off. Endo comes on, absolutely incredibly, just locks off the game, and we end up winning. And for me, the ref didn't make any single wrong decision. Nunez was man of the match. The complacency in the first half was put right in the second half, and we deserve to win that game. And we go marching on to the 20th league title, Mr. Terry Flowers. So hope you enjoy watching this. As a Man United fan. And by the way, I want to say one thing. Even as an international football fan, I do agree with what Terry said at the start. When I became a Liverpool fan, I signed up to hate Everton. I'm not Scouse, obviously, as you guys can tell. I'm not Scouse. I'm not from Liverpool. I'm not from the city. But I can't stand Everton Football Club. The only club I hate more than Everton is Manchester United. And that's it. Everton is the second club I hate the most. Even though in my whole lifetime, for the people who don't know, I'm meant to be a Liverpool fan. I'm born on 20th May, 1995. It's the day that Everton last won a trophy. And I hate Everton, even though I've never seen them be successful my whole life. And you have to adopt the rivalries of your football club. And this is true what he said. Even as an international fan, you need to learn the history. You need to learn everything about your club.
I think it's important because I know football is a sport, but I think we all are guilty of this at times. We forget about the cultural element that it represents. And Liverpool represents part of English culture. It represents part of like Merseyside culture. And I think when you become a fan of that, I think you're adopting by and large everything that encompasses it. If you become a Morris dancer, you've got to wear trousers that have bells on them because that's what Morris dancers do. You can't become a ballet dancer but say, no, I'm going to wear baggy jeans on stage and not a leotard. Like there are certain things, whether it be a sport, whether it be a team that you follow, there are hobbies that you take up. There's a way in which you do it. And I just feel like we live in this world now where everybody wants everything customized to them. I want to support this team, but I want these to be my main rivals. Now you don't get to make that choice. There are Man United fans that I speak to that honestly, boys, and you may come across this in your fan base. The last I'll say on it, they're like similar age to me, maybe a little bit younger. They don't really like Fergie. They hate the class of 92. They didn't like the way we played football under Fergie. They hate what's going on now. And I sit there and think, hang on, how did you ever become a fan then? It doesn't even make sense. Like, do you get it's like they don't, I hate all the academy nonsense and all the DNA bullshit. I just sit there and think, hang on, you like nothing about the history, nothing about the club when you were growing up, and nothing about it now. Seems to me like you picked the club for the wrong reasons, my friend. Maybe because they're winning trophies. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But you adopt the customs and culture of your football club, the basketball team, the franchise, if it's an American sport. I think personally you do that. You wouldn't go, I'm going to become a super fan of Taylor Swift. Do you like her songs? Nah, they're shit. You wouldn't do that. I don't know. Rack, your game today, obviously very, very important win. It was a game that you had to, you should be winning at Southampton, but important that you got the job done. And maybe a little bit more pressure now on Arsenal tomorrow.
Yeah, look, I'll be fair and say I think most Liverpool fans, to some degree, regardless of Slot's words before the game, we kind of expected a win today. And when we went 1-0 down, it was a bit of a kick up the backside, shock to the system, all that kind of stuff. And that, along with, I'm sure, Slot gave them a rollicking in the dressing room, meant that they came out and, a quick time, we got 2 goals back, and it was almost normal service resumed. So we need to be a little bit careful about that. But so I said on Hassan's show yesterday, we've built up a significant margin of error now. A 10-point gap if Arsenal win their 2 games in hand, and with 9 games left to play, it's highly, highly unlikely for that kind of gap to be closed, especially based on how we performed this season. So I don't expect us to drop points or anything like that. But if it means that we have a better chance in the Champions League, then I don't necessarily mind too much us taking our foot off the pedal, but not to the point where we're losing games or drawing games necessarily if we don't need to, and not against Southampton. It's more a case of make subs when we've got the opportunity to, and rotate players just to kind of keep fresh. Look, we did a lot of running in midweek. PSG, they put us through the ringer a little bit. So if it means taking players off at half time or with 10 minutes to go or 20 minutes to go, just to give us a little bit of energy for Tuesday, and preserve the energy for Tuesday, then I'm all for it. But as soon as we got the 2 goals back, well, as soon as we got the first goal back in the second half, I think we knew that Liverpool would show up. And even if we hadn't got the penalty, and look, to be fair, both those penalties were clear as day. I don't think anybody can deny that. Even if those penalties hadn't been given or those incidents hadn't happened, I would have still counted on us to get the job done. Because we so rarely don't.
Yeah, no, I agree. And undertow here, one of the super chatters says, Terry, the most important thing is Liverpool players are all healthy. And that kind of echoes what you said, Rack, that you won the game, you got the 3 points. Everybody looks like they're going to be fit for the game Tuesday. You were able in the end to play in second gear for maybe 20 minutes and reserve some energy. And that now becomes the most important game of the season, I would assume, from your perspective.
Yeah, look, that becomes the most important game of the season. Shortly after that, we have the Newcastle game, opportunity to win our first trophy of the season. And obviously, depending on how things go, if we do get past PSG, then we'll be looking. Yes, of course, there'll be Premier League games in between, but we'll be looking towards the quarterfinals and playing either Bruges or Villa, probably Villa. And again, we will fancy our chances, but we still have to go out on the day and beat these teams. And it's never going to be easy. But we're in a good place. We're in a really good place. The only downside, Gakpo's been injured for the last couple of weeks, and I'd like to see him back. Hopefully, he's back for midweek, even if it's just as a sub, because it's good to have that rotation option with Diaz. But look, we're in a good place, and bring on Tuesday.
Thing is, like with what Rax just said quickly, I know as well, Elijah, big up to you for joining. Thing is, like with this thing. I'm not a fan of what Rax said, despite I understand what he's saying, which is like taking your foot off the pedal. The reason why I say that is I do feel like in the Premier League specifically, this is something that is like genuinely probably most common in the Prem over anywhere else. It's the fact that you can't really disrespect any opponent and get away with it. And we see it in League A sometimes with PSG and other teams. You see it sometimes in La Liga. But I don't think like you see in the Premier League specifically, today, one of the worst teams in Premier League history, and we saw it with our own eyes. Like, we know this is just nearly as bad as Derby County, bro. They were 1-0 up at Anfield. So for me, I'm all for rotation. I'm all for health and stuff, but don't overdo it. That's all.
Do you know what I mean? You say that, and at the same time, I was just checking as you were saying that, Hassam. PSG today, barring Neves, who started the game, and Barcola and Neves started. The other 9 players, including the goalkeeper, have all been rested today.
Yeah, we can do that,
and they're winning 2-1. And this is why, whenever the argument comes out, what's the hardest league or what's the best league? Often, best and hardest don't need to be the same thing. Hardest league, my opinion, is always the Premier League, because you will regularly see Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich. They'll have a big Champions League game where it's in the balance, and you will see mass substitutions, a mass rotation, and still and often a relatively comfortable win. Or sometimes they'll do that and they're not even that worried about it and they'll get it done. We're in the Premier League, legitimate. I know you can make 5 subs now, so it's a little bit easier. But if you dropped 9 of your main 11 today, that game could go very, very differently, even against a team like Southampton. And I think, and this is where the argument becomes so difficult. Of course, the top 2 or 3 teams in the top 4 or 5 leagues in England are often brilliant and can compete with all of our best teams, and there's no doubt. But I think in a lot of the other leagues, I'm not talking technical ability, I'm often talking about the physicality as well. I think when you drop below those mid-table sides, I think the drop-off is gargantuan in comparison. And that's not just my opinion. That has been said anecdotally by dozens and dozens of players that have come from Spain, Germany, Italy. They say in the Prem, it's mad. You go away to the team that's bottom of the league. I think Kai Havertz said in Germany, you go away to the bottom teams, you don't even need your best players, and it's like a walk in the park. It's easy. He said, here, you have to fight for 95 minutes, and it's brutal. So there is so much truth in that. That's why, as you say, getting through this game healthy, being able to rest a little bit is massive, because PSG are going to come into that game. He's actually brought them on in the last 10 minutes of the game, probably, because they say that games are important for the sort of the continuation, but he's brought them on in the last 20 minutes when they were 2-0 up. 2-1 up, sorry, and just to see the game out. But yeah, it's massive now for you guys.